Hello and welcome back to the channel, and we have the well anticipated top 10 films of 2019. And just before I begin, I just want to say that I know that on this platform with my subscribers, I know that I have about a 20% median of American audiences, and I just want to clarify that films like Parasite, Lighthouse, Uncut Gems, 1917, they haven't yet hit UK theatres just yet. I believe the range, the time limit of when they will be hitting UK theatres will be between the 10th of January and the 31st of January. So yes, it sucks because I've heard great things about those films, but don't worry, you'll be getting reviews for those films very soon in the near future. So, just before we get into the top 10, I'm going to give my honourable mentions. Now, all these films I loved and I would watch them over and over again, but again, they didn't satisfy my needs to break into that top 10. So here are my honourable mentions. John Wick 3, Parabellum. Chad Stahelski keeps continuing to bring and create great world building with the Continental. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Tarantino never really fails to give us a bad movie. Knives Out. Rian Johnson redeemed himself in that film, and kudos to him for writing and directing that film. Booksmart, which was Olivia Wilde's debut, and it was lightning in a bottle. I loved it. A great comedy and a great story of teenagers coming of age. Ready or Not was another big surprise. A really uncanny, unconventional story that it just brings a smile to my face that a group of writers, or whatever the case might be, that the idea was brought for that film. I loved it. Alita Battle Angel, I thought that was a great film, again with great cinematography, great world building, product design, and Rosa Salazar was brilliant as Alita. And one last more is Shazam. Now, again, I thought that Billy Batson was brilliantly written. The villain was flushed out as well, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. So all these honourable mentions, I got a lot of love for them. I got a lot of time for them. I would watch them again, and I would presumably believe so that they would enter anyone else's top 10. So anyway, let's move on to the good stuff. So coming in at number 10 is Dragged Across Concrete. Now, a lot of people, especially UK audience, would have not known about this film, given the fact that it didn't have a nationwide release. It was a limited release. But I think that this film is great, and I think that the actual narrative of the story is very enticing because there is no heroes. It's a story completely about anti-heroes between Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson, and what they bring to those performances really does light up the screen. And there is a very prominent thing that happens in the second act, the first 10 minutes going in, and it introduces the character, well, played by Jennifer Carter, who's known for playing, for being a part of Dexter. She's introduced into that second act, and things get mortifyingly absurd and deranged, and it's one of the most shocking moments. If anyone's watched the film, you know exactly what happens in that bank scene. So moving on. Coming at number 9 is Peanut Butter Falcon. This is a very sentimental film. It's heartfelt. full of joy, and Zach Gotzen and what he bring to the role. You know, the kind of representation in that film of having a boy with Down syndrome, and he's really giving his all to the role. It's very inspirational, and I think it goes to show that if you put your mind to anything, anything can come to light. Again, Shia LaBeouf, Dakota Johnson, they were great in that film, and I had a great time with it. Number 8 is the culmination of the Infinity Saga, Avengers Endgame. Now, I think that Christopher Marcus, Stephen McFeely, the Russo brothers, they really stuck the landing. And, you know, to have everything culminate in the way that it did, especially in the last 36 minutes of that film, it blew my mind. I mean, I can still remember me screaming like a little schoolgirl when Pepper showed up in her Iron Man suit. I just lost my shit. I couldn't help myself. I actually had to have my friend's car be down because I was so amped I could have ended up in the row in front of me. Honestly, it was scenes. Coming in at number 7 is Honey Boy, another film that stars Shia LaBeouf. This film was written by Shia LaBeouf and directed by Alma Harrell. And I think that it's a very brave film. Initially, if you'd seen my review for that film, I couldn't understand the decision behind it. But when you see and you watch the film, it's a great insight into Shia's life, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Moving on, number 6. Things get interesting now. Very interesting. Number 6 is Doctor Sleep. I think that Mike Flanagan brilliantly adapted Stephen King's second novel to The Shining very well, expertly done. Mike Flanagan obviously added all of his own trademarks to the process, and the way that he directs and the way that he moves the camera. And that third act was completely mind-boggling. It was amazing to watch, and I still cannot get that insane camera work out of my head in the second act with Rose the Hat. Never seen anything like it. Moving on, number 5 is The Irishman. The Irishman was, I feel like The Irishman was a little bit of a tearaway from some of the other films that Martin Scorsese's done. It's not as, The Irishman, reason why I like it, and I like the decisions that Martin Scorsese does within the film, is it's a little bit more kind of grounded, kind of done in the graphic novel style, and a little bit more down to earth. You know, and it's obviously based on the true events of the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa, and I think the resoluting factor of what that film gave to me was that all of this prejudice, all this thing about money, all the things that we think matter don't matter, and I love the feeling the film gave me that the only thing that we are truly left with when we're gone is our memories. And that really resonated with me, and a great film. Number 4 is Ari Aster's Midsommar. Now, the first, I've got to be honest with you, what was so different about this film was that in Hereditary, a situation had already taken place. And I think subconsciously as an audience member, you're kind of going with the impulse or the input that, okay, I know what I'm getting myself into. A situation is going to play out a certain way because he's done it in a different film, and that's the kind of the sense of how he directs. No, not the case here. whatever's happening in this film, it's about to happen. And I love the way that he kind of spun the way that he writes film, especially in Midsummer, how he spun everything on its head. And then I just remember just watching the first 5 minutes of this film, and I felt a sense of dread I've never felt before, like in my life, never. I honestly asked myself the question of what did I actually get myself into watching this film? And I remember the credits rolling, and I remember the entire audience in Watford sitting there, and they're looking at the credits and they're thinking, what have I got myself into? And again, the character arc of Danny was well done, and the hidden exposition as to what's happening, what happened at the beginning of the film and what happened at the end. I thought it all culminated perfectly within that film, and I can't wait to see what Ari does next. Number three. We're on number three. Sorry, is James Mangold's Ford versus Ferrari. This was an exhilarating film, and there's a certain taste with this film. There's a certain panache about it that I really enjoy. You know, the colours just bounce off the screen, and the way that it's shot and the way it's directed. I mean, I'm pretty sure that there is awards for best ensemble cast, and every single actor with the source material that they are given, they all pull it out of the bag. They are all amazing. Even when the film, I've said this before, but when even the film got to an administration part with the corporate stuff between Ford and Ferrari, Ford tries to kind of beat them to a punch in a sense. And a scene like that can get boring because you're not really promoting the conflict of the story. But James Mangold subverts your expectations and gives you a really good scene. And I think as well, what added a little more spice to that scene was the fact that Jon Bernthal in that first act was really given a great interpretation of his character. And that is why Ford versus Ferrari is at number three. Number two. Now, number two and number one, I swear to you, there is nothing in it between the two of them. I was really contemplating putting these two films at joint number one because the amount of things I learned from these two films was just, I can't fathom it. They were number two, number one, are honestly just amazing films. Number two is Marriage Story. Man, what a film! What a film! Honestly, when you watch a film and it no longer feels like you're just watching a movie because of good marketing and all this other malarkey, and then the film kind of feels like an event or part of, realistically a part of someone's life, and it's just so well done. The soundtrack is amazing. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson I don't know if I'm. I mean, they might reach the same potential of the acting ability they gave in this film, but dude, it was something else, man. The acting was, just amazing. I'm actually just speechless talking about that film. And if you've not seen Marriage Story, please go and check it out. It's on Netflix. Number one is the groundbreaking, shell-shocking Joker. This was just the one. I've never seen anything like it. Honestly, I've never seen anything like it. And I think what compensates that, obviously, is that when this film kicked off, I was thinking, okay, they're creating Joker as this three-dimensional character. So I was on board with it. I was on board with what was going on. I mean, at that time, I didn't know it was going to go through all these different contrasts, conflicts, 3x2 character development. I didn't know all those things were going to end up happening, and they did. But what I was not expecting was, after the moment of Joker being beaten in the beginning of the film, when that soundtrack dropped, I was hearing sounds. This was in IMAX as well. When I was hearing sounds I'd never heard before in my life, I was like, what? I turned to my friend, I was like, what is this? This is euphoric, man. It feels. I mean, if depression had a sound, it would sound like that. I mean, just, the subject matter is sad, but the way that it was done was brilliant, just amazing. That film, well, with Joker, and obviously the performance with Joaquin Phoenix. Oh, come on, guys. If Joker doesn't get into anyone's honorable mentions or anyone's top 10 list, then I don't know what you were watching this year. Then I don't know. I don't know what you were watching, sadly. And the fact that he lost all that weight and gave that performance, I could watch Joker over and over again. And guess what? You can watch it over and over again because the film is multiple choice. Todd Phillips done a great job directing and writing, partnered up with Scott Silver, and wow. And on a side note, I don't want a sequel to Joker. I just want it to be its own little cult classic by itself. So guys, we've got through it. Obviously in the comment section, let me know what is your top 10 films of 2019. I'd be very interested now. I want to communicate with you guys and engage with you in the comment section. So let me know what your top 10 list is. And also, I've got a few milestones that I just want to point out. Let's try and get this video to... Let's try and get this video to 30 likes. Come on, we can do that. We can do that. 30 likes. And also, if we can, also try to get the channel to 200 subscribers. That would be good. I don't know how this video will be. It's obviously on New Year's Day. Let's see if we can reach that milestone. And share the video as well. That really helps out. Again, put down your top 10 list, and if we hit the 30 likes, I will do my top 10 worst films of 2019. We're coming out in January, but if we hit that milestone, I'll do that video for you. And I would not be looking forward to doing a top 10 worst films, because looking at Cat's IMDb, a 2.7, watching that film could be another form of torture. So if you'd like to see me have a mental breakdown and review Cats, get the video to 30 likes then. All right then, guys. And a side note, thank you to everyone that has been a part of the channel, watched the videos, shared the videos, or even subscribed, or any intuition you've given to this channel, even if it's been for 1 minute. I'm so thankful. This has been one of the most scariest things I've ever done, and one of the most exhilarating things I've ever done. And I can't wait for 2020. So guys, expect many more videos, reviews, reactions, everything movie based, everything TV based. It's coming 2020 on this channel. So guys, thank you so much. Have a great new year.